So Patty Gurney, thank you for being here. And I really want to start this talk off by asking you a few questions about how you got into real estate. Like, what is your story and how did you even become a real estate agent?
I started out as an interior decorator, and I was staging houses for real estate agents. And I kind of watched what they did, and I was so impressed by them. And the more I started staging houses, the more I got interested in the business. And then my husband and I wound up buying a small beach house and going through that process. On the other side, I really got to see where, honestly, I saw where some of the flaws were and how. And my husband was encouraging me because I've always been in sales, and he said, "This person's not doing a great job. You could do this better than them. You could do this." I kept thinking, the test always scared me. So I had always heard from people that the real estate test it's really hard. You'll never pass. It's going to be too hard. You'll hate it. I hated it. It was so hard. It was the hardest thing I ever did. And I'm like, I'm not signing up for that. That sounds horrible. And finally, with enough encouragement, I got my license. And I believe I had my license, I'm going to say at least 2 years,
Wow.
a year and a half before I took push. So
Okay.
a lot of people, I was I was one of those people that misunderstood. I thought push was for new agents.
Okay.
So when I heard about push, it was only at the very beginning. I'm like, that's not for me. I've had my license for a year and a half. That must be for new people.
That's not for me. I hear you.
I just assumed.
Well, how did you even get connected to Push and get connected to me?
We were in the office. We were in the Ridgewood office. I knew you prior because of the being in the Wyckoff office for a little while. I
Yep.
heard of you, saw you, was on that the morning mindset call a couple of times. Long story short, I wound up seeing you again at the Ridgewood office,
Mhm.
and I don't even know how we started talking. I don't know what. Maybe someone said to me, "Are you going to take the new push program?" And I said, "No, I don't think so." And you mentioned something. You asked me something. Did I do a listing presentation, or do I get a? You asked me what percent do I charge on my listings, and
That's it. That's it.
yeah, you said like, do you charge 6%? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not that strong of an agent yet. And you were like, well, this is where push might be helpful. And I was like, oh, I'm intrigued. And I heard you. You had mentioned something that it was about. There was some focus on calling expireds and for sale by owners, and I immediately went back to that thinking of like, oh no, that's not for me. That's not what I'll be doing. I'm not focusing on expireds and for sale by owners. I'm working on
Right.
my sphere.
That's right.
So I was so small minded, thinking like, oh no, no, I'm only working on this. So somehow you convinced me to. I signed up for push, and I had no idea how important that information was going to be.
So what was your experience once you signed up in the Push program? What was that experience like going through Push with me?
At the From the very first day, I really liked the way I was sitting with other agents,
Mhm.
and everyone seemed to be hungry and excited, and the vibe was really good. That makes sense. Like it just felt like everybody was ready to learn, and there were all different kinds of people there. Um, Older people, younger people. Just it was like a beautiful mix of human beings, and uh, you started out you were so I was relieved at the very beginning because you were very clear on the rules. We're going to start at this time. I'm going to respect your time and end at this time. This is what you can expect from each class. This is what you can expect from the whole thing. This is what I expect from you. Deal?
Yep.
Deal. And then we were all like, okay, good. And then you let us know how serious you were about those lessons.
So you're talking about starting on time. Your phone rings. You pay a $20 fee to KW Cares. We need to participate. We need to interact. I'm holding you accountable. I also want
Right.
you to hold me accountable as the instructor as well. You're absolutely right. I'm very big on those things.
But that was so important from that very first day, because so many times um, you sign up for a class or a something, and we're 15 minutes after the start time, and the instructor is like, "Well, we're just going to wait for a few more people," and the rest of us are like, "We've been here 15 minutes."
That's
And
right.
then it goes over by 30 minutes, and you're like, I have a schedule to keep. So that just made me think like, oh, this guy, he's actually legit. Okay.
Too legit to quit. I love it. I love it. Okay.
But
So
it
that
was just so like it took so much pressure off.
okay.
Like you knew what to I knew what to expect from you. Promised that you could expect things from me, and that's how it started.
Well, I've never had anyone explain it to me quite like that, and I love hearing that because for me, it's super important that I respect your time and I respect my time, and we also learn how to respect the seller's time. And that's why when you showed up for our Zoom today at 2:45, I made a big deal about you being on time because we should be on time. When we say we're going to do something, we should do it, and that's big with me, and that's how I've always been. So, thank you for sharing that.
What's that bold law? How you show up here is how you show up in life.
Pretty much, that's it,
Yeah.
right? How you
Mhm.
participate here is how you participate out there.
Right.
That's exactly it. So let me ask you, after going through Push and having the experience working with me, what were maybe 2 or 3 major takeaways from the Push program that you feel have really impacted you in your business?
Okay. Well, learning how to have those conversations with for sale by owners,
Mhm.
for one,
Okay.
expireds too, the people that I really that was not going to be my focus of business. But
Right,
what I learned is like I'm like hyper focused on my town and the surrounding towns,
right.
and hyper focused on bringing people from Bergen County down to Ocean County, Long Beach Island, Beach Haven West, that area. That's
Yeah,
kind of my thing. So expired and for sale by owners were probably not in my mind, not going to be a focus. But what I learned, my takeaway was that there are for sale by owners and expired in every town, in every situation. So there's going to be for sale by owners and expireds who are looking to leave Bergen County, go to Ocean County, or need to own those conversations. I need to master those conversations with my sphere. So or with just my town focus. So
of course.
that was my takeaway. That even though I thought those weren't going to be important things for my business, it's just it's facets on the gem of real estate that need to be polished.
Oh, I like that. I like the way you said that. It makes a lot of sense when I hear it that way. What do you think your biggest transformation was after going through the Push program?
Uh, well, you holding me accountable to lead generating every day and time blocking.
Okay.
Like I don't even know if that was meant to be if the time blocking was meant to be such a huge focus in the push program, but whatever you were talking about that day, like teaching us how to time block, I think that was my biggest takeaway because I didn't do that prior.
Mm, okay. Okay. And you also mentioned that prior you didn't think that you were a 6% agent. Have you gotten 6% on listings M-
Absolutely.
more often than not now?
Yeah, and I have to say, like I always say to the people, it's a negotiation.
Hmm.
So I think so. What I say, it's a negotiation, and I let them know what it is I offer, what it is I can do,
Love it.
and I tell them to get all this. This is what it would be. And if there is some kind of pushback, then we have that conversation. Like, so what part of this may not be of interest from you of you may not be of interest to you. And if they say, "Oh, I don't really want professional photography," then I explain to them, now remember, here's why we would want professional photography. I use the best of the best. I'm not using my iPhone.
That's right.
And I show them the difference. And sometimes they want the Matterport. And I tell them what Matterport um, consists of. It's costly. I have to be there the whole time. We do staging. We do all these different things. So it's always it's a conversation. And like you always say, price is only an issue in the absence of value.
In the absence of value. And listen, when it comes to what you said, it's a negotiation. One thing that I say, and I know this is like very direct with people, let's negotiate my commission right now, Mr. Seller. just make me one promise. If you can out negotiate me, don't hire me, because you're hiring me to negotiate the best terms on the sale of your house and get you the best price. If you can out negotiate me, I'm not the right agent, right? And
Yeah.
so what that does is it plants a seed, because they probably have talked to agents already that they've out negotiated, agents who said they would do it for less. And when I stand on my value and what I can do, and I show them that I'm a bulldog and I fight for my commission and I'm going to fight for their equity, they get that. It resonates with the people who are serious and who see my value.
I wonder if the agents who aren't negotiating their own commission, if they're the same agents that are going to list the house for whatever the seller says.
A lot of times, yes. A lot of times, yes. And a lot of times they just don't know their worth. And they don't even start at 6%. They go in and say, I'm five.
Hmm.
And they get five and they feel good about that, but they are getting five because they're not asking for more. And they
Yeah,
don't
my only
understand their worth.
my thought about getting five is that um, I mean, it's a different market now, but the fact that the buyer's agent would be making as much as me, but I've paid out so much.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I know the buyer's agents have put in a lot of hours showing them 50 houses. I'm not getting paid on those 50 houses. I'm getting paid on one. So that's always my concern, that like when the buyer's agent is actually winds up in the end making more than me.
Well, that's an issue, because listen, the minute you take a listing, you're spending money, and you are not getting that money back until you sell that house. And so there should be a higher reward for the risk you're taking to market that property and do Matterport and do pictures and floor plans and drone shots and run open houses,
Hmm.
right? You're spending that money out of pocket up front. So there should be a higher payoff. You
Right.
are the employer as a listing agent. Buyer agents are employees. And so you're going to get more.
Yeah, I think every this whole business is about a negotiation, and the very first negotiation is you negotiating your commission. If you're skipping that part, what else are you skipping?
Skipping a lot. Skipping a lot. So you definitely have to know your value. So Patty, you mentioned something before. You said that you didn't think push was for you. You felt like since you had had your license for so long, you didn't think you needed the push program. So when you look at real estate agents, who do you think should be taking the push program? Who's the right agent to go through push 1.0, which is prospecting, or push 2.0, which is listing mastery? What's the right agent that should be taking the program?
Somebody that's looking to better their business, somebody that hasn't reached their ultimate goal yet. If you think you can do better and you're just not sure, like, what can you polish up?
Okay.
That's it. Like, polish up your listing presentation, polish up how to talk to for sale by owners, polish up how to talk to expireds. And you learn so much from the other people. Like that was another thing. Like just listening to those other agents in the class, you really learned a lot from them and how they were hearing things and their experiences, and it just kind of gave you more information. I
Okay.
think any agent that wants to do better.
That's awesome. I think that's really good feedback. I think whether you're brand new or you've been doing it for 5 or 10 or 15 years, listen, if you could improve on one area and that could get you listings that are priced better, commissions that are higher, right? Why wouldn't you go through it? If you can learn the dialogue and the conversations you need to have
Right.
to grow your business, why wouldn't you go through that program? It's continuing education for
And
us.
the other thing that I found, a, a bonus that I never even thought about,
So,
when you're in that class and you give us all these different script partners and we're practicing with people and we're getting to know individual agents a little better. When I was really busy in my business last year and I had like 4 listings at the same time, um, which is a whole nother thing we could talk about, me lead genning every day with time blocking because you held me accountable made me a different subject. So being in that room talking to all these other agents, when I was so busy, I needed some help. I needed to leverage.
mhm,
So I needed people to do open houses for me. I needed people to do showings for me. I needed somebody to sit at an inspection for me. I got to know in that push program who's hungry,
mm,
who's sharp, and who can I see I really trust this person to do an open house for me.
That's
And
good.
I got to know that, like, you get to know them a little bit better than just meeting them or hearing their name. I got to script practice with them. And a few of those people, I asked them, would you do an open house for me? Or would you just sit in an inspection for me? And those people that I was impressed with are doing really well now, like on their own. But it's almost like you get a precursor as to what they're going to be like.
Of course, because you're getting to know them, and that becomes your tribe and people you can call on for help. Now, you
Right.
said something that I wasn't going to bring up, and you brought it up, so we're going to go there. You mentioned that you capped
I
recently.
did. Thank you.
Congratulations again on capping, and you said a
Thank
lot
you.
of that was due to you being held accountable to doing your lead gen, right? And it's
Hmm.
so interesting to me. We have live lead gen here at the office that people can plug into, and you talk about our offices. Out of 5 offices, we have like 1,300 agents, but we typically only see 10 people, 15 people on these calls. If you could say something to the agents that made them understand that they need to be consistent and be held accountable around lead gen and put that on their schedule as something that had to be done, and finding new business always should take precedence over dealing with existing business, what would you say to them?
I remember how hard it was to wrap my brain around doing lead gen every day for hours, not just like, making 2 phone calls.
Mhm.
But, of course, me, like everybody else, my life is way too busy to commit to that. And or I even said, even an hour and a half every day, 5 days a week is what I was trying to do. There were days where I just couldn't figure it out. But you and I made a deal that you were going to hold me accountable to doing this however many days I was choosing, and it was five, that I had to uh, do the lead gen, write all this information down, my time blocking, and text it to you every night. If I don't know if people understand that this is our business. Lead gen is all you are supposed to be doing. Everything else is the extra.
Mhm.
Lead gen is all it is you're supposed to do. And the results are, because I am a scientific study, 1 year, 1 year, March 2020 to March 2021, lead gen every day, 5 days a week. And at a certain point, when I had a lot of listings, I did bring it back to 4 days a week, at
Mhm.
least 1.5 hours a day. I capped. So if people are wondering what the magic sauce is, what the secret sauce is to capping, lead gen every day. Not lead gen when you feel like it, not lead gen when you have time, or lead gen when you have no business. Even when I had 4 listings and I was losing my mind, I was still doing lead gen 4 days a week.
That's right.
That's all it takes. So if somebody wants to do their own little personal experiment, lead gen every day, 4 to 5 days a week, whatever it is you choose, lead gen every day for a year and see if you cap.
And you will.
Yeah, like I did. It, if I can do it, anybody can do
Listen, it can be done. To your point, it's being consistent with it, and just
it.
no
Hmm.
matter what, knowing you have to have conversations every day about real estate. And you do that for a full year. You give me your mornings to do that work. Your afternoons are filled with appointments, right?
Hmm. And I even found mornings are sometimes difficult. So if I don't do it in the morning, I absolutely must do it at night. And worst case scenario, there are bad days and personal things happen. If something happened and I didn't get 4 days during the week, Monday to Friday, I would do it Saturday and Sunday.
If you erased it, you must replace it.
Hmm. And it's that easy. Like, I think people are always wondering, how can it be done? It's so hard. It's, if you just are consistent and do it every day,
That's it.
it's easy.
Well, you definitely made it easy, look easy, but we know you were putting in a lot of work.
Mhm.
And now you've seen the fruits of your labor. So it's even easier to double down. If you want to make more money, it's just about more lead generation, more conversations. You
Or
get it
better
done.
conversations.
Better conversations, right?
Like, so that's what we learned in push too, that like if somebody was if somebody says they were doing lead gen every day and they were calling x amount of people and getting no results, now you got to level up.
Yep.
What kind of conversations are you having? What are you saying? What kind of obstacles are you coming in front of what kind of objections are you hearing. Now we have to work past those, or either call better people or have better conversations. So there's always a way to get better. And I think so many people stop.
I think you're absolutely right. Well, one thing we know, Patty, is that you didn't stop. You had a great year. You capped. You have an opportunity to get some checks at 100%. What a great feeling. You deserve it. You earned it. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk about push and how it impacted you. And I hope that people hear this and are inspired to join the program and put their head down and get to work like you did, because you can cap if you understand what your one thing is and what you should be doing consistently every day.
Hmm.
So that's
It
awesome.
can be done. I'm so grateful.
I'm grateful for you.
Thank you.
It's been a good partnership working with you, and my goal and my wish would be that we sit back down and create another goal for you moving forward, that I can help you and hold you account. I want to see your journey, right? I want to watch
Yes.
the Gurney journey and see where this business takes you. And I know with your belief in manifestation and what you've done in your life through positive manifestation, that there's nothing that you can't do. And so I want to be part of that. I want to see that journey.
Okay, let's do it. We need to sit down and set my next goal.
I think another lunch might be appropriate. We'll sit down and like figure it out.
I'm in.
All right.
Yes.
So with that being said, we're done. We're wrapped up. I
Okay.
just want to say thank you. I thought that was solid. You anytime you talk, it's just fantastic. You say all the right stuff. It was really good. And I appreciate you taking the time today to do this for me.
It was from the heart.